All right, we're looking to find the trigonometric functions of any angle. And the first thing you have to realize is what the values are, depending on where they are. And they're either positive or what quadrant they lie in. So in quadrant 1, they are all going to be positive. Sine, cosine, tangent. That means the reciprocal functions, cosecant, secant, and cotangent are all positive. In quadrant 2, only sine is positive. So sine and cosecant are the positive ones, everything else is negative. In quadrant 3, tangent is positive, which means cotangent is positive, and the other 4 are negative. And in quadrant 4, cosine is positive, which means cosine and secant are positive, and the rest are negative. So they came up with a little memory aid to remember which trig functions are positive in which quadrant. They say A for awesome, S for silly, T for trig, C for class. And I've kind of put a little twist on that over the years because I had a couple of students that were pretty funny and gave me some good stuff. So they say all students try cheating. Means they're all positive. Sine's positive in quadrant 2, tangent's positive in quadrant 3, and cosine is positive in quadrant 4. All students try cheating, and that's what worked. So that one usually works for everybody. The other thing you need to know is Pythagorean identities. So the same, anytime you have a angle, you're comparing it to the initial side, and you're always going to get a right angle over here. You get a right angle right in here. So you can use Pythagorean identities if this is x going to the right and y going up. X squared plus y squared equals r squared, and r is your radius, your hypotenuse coming up through there. So with that being said, r equals x squared plus y squared. This is key. Write this down. You're going to be using it a lot. And you have these on your note sheet. The only thing I didn't put on your note sheet is the r equals the square root of x squared plus y squared. So go ahead and write that on your note sheet so you have that. Sine values are y over r, cosines x over r, and tangent is y over x. And if you look at the angle, you can see that sine's opposite over hypotenuse, adjacent over hypotenuse for cosine, and opposite over adjacent for tangent. And then you got your other functions to deal with. So let's see what we're going to use these things for. So they're saying you got a 0.34. A negative 3/4, sorry. So negative 3/4, the first thing you have to look at is come to this thing and say, all right, this is in quadrant 2. Always look at your quadrant first, see where it is. Quadrant 2. So you know, the only thing positive in quadrant 2 is sine and cosecant. So I want you to find, you're going to need to find r. So you can find your sine, cosine, and tangent. Actually, tangent you can find right now with what you have. You've got 4 over negative 3. Because you have your x and your y. And tangent is y over x. To find the other two, you need the hypotenuse, and you do negative 3 squared plus 4 squared, which gives you 25, and the square root of that is 5. So sine is y over r, and cosine is 5 over negative 3. And look, came out with your cosine and your tangent are both negative, your sine's the only one positive over in this quadrant. Quadrant 2. So find the 3 trig functions. theta in standard position. That means theta is down here. It's inside your angle there, your small one, whose terminal side contains a point -5, 3. -5, 3 again is in quadrant 2. So they found r, which is square root of 34. So sine is 3 over root 34. Well, we can't leave it like that. We need to multiply that by root 34 over root 34. That's going to give us 3 root 34 over 34. Root 34 over 34. Next one, multiply by root 34 over 34 for the cosine. And you're going to get 5 root 34 over 34. And tangent, we're going to get -3/5. Our is negative. Cosine's negative in that quadrant. And it's negative because we have a negative fiber for the x. So your work is going to ask you to, find just one function, but we're going to go find all 6 here and see what we have. So we're going to need r. We have x. X is -1. Y is the square root of 3. Oh man, it really didn't come out nice. Let me make that come out a little better. Square root of 3. I just have to know that's a 3. I can't get any better. And r is going to be the square root of -1 squared plus square root of 3 squared. That gives me the square root of what here do we have? -1 squared is 1, and square root of 3 squared is 3, so square root of 4. So r equals 2. R is 2. Let's go find sine. Sine of our angle is y over r. Square root of 3 over 2. Cosine of our angle equals x over r, -1 over 2. And tangent of our angle, should have the angles in there, our angle equals y over x, which is going to be root 3 over -1, so negative root 3 over 1, which is just negative root 3. All right, let's go look at, we got reciprocal functions. I just go back and use these. Cosecant of theta, our angle is going to be 2 over root 3, and we take them times root 3 over root 3, which is 2 root 3 over 3. Secant theta is going to be the reciprocal of -1/2, which is -2. And tangent is going to be the reciprocal of √3 over -1, so it's -1 over √3. Take it times √3 over √3, and we're going to get -√3 over 3. And that gives you all 6 functions of this particular one. It's a -√3. Sorry about my writing again with these things. Cannot find a better stylus. So let's go look at the quadrant angles, where it falls on 90, 180, 270, 360, where it falls right on the axis lines. Those are called quadrant angles. So since we have the function, I'm just going to go ahead and draw it. Over here, we have 1, 0. This is 0, 1. -1, 0. Points. And 0, -1. Man. All right, I'll move this up a little bit, give myself some more room here. So if we're looking for, in this case, R is always 1. So if we're looking right on the quadrants, if we're looking for sine of 90, it's going to be sine is opposite over hypotenuse. Hypotenuse, or R, is 1. R is your hypotenuse. And we're looking for sine, it's 1 over 1, which is 1. The sine of 180 degrees is going to be 0 over 1, which is 0. Sine of 270 degrees is going to be -1 over 1, which is -1. And the sine cannot get this to finish this of 360 or 0. They're the same thing. Their coterminal angles, 360 and 0, is going to be 0. It's going to be 0 over 1, which is 0. Cosine. I'm just going to do it this way. Of 90 is x over y, or x over r. X over r. R is 1. 0 over 1 is 0. Of 180 180 degrees is going to be -1 over 1, which is -1. 270 degrees. It's going to be 0, the x, and 360 degrees is going to be the x, which is 1. Let's look at tangent. If I can slide this up some. A little bit. tangent of 90 degrees is going to be, tangent is y over r, or excuse me, y over x, so that's be 1 over 0, which is undefined. UND, undefined. Tangent of 180 degrees equals y over r, 0 over negative 1, which is 0. Tangent of 270 is going to be 0 over negative 1, which is, whoa, negative 1 over 0, y over x, my bad. Y over the x. Which is going to be negative 1 over 0, which again is undefined. And 360 is going to be 0 over 1, which is 0. And you do the same with your other functions. The only one to be careful with on here is cosecant. Or not cosecant, I'm sorry, your reciprocal functions. So you're going to have some undefineds. Definitely in there. But we could find the rest of them. Cotangent. So cotangent of 90 is going to be x over y. It's going to be 0. And cotangent of 180 is negative 1 over 0, which is undefined. So you see where you have an undefined for the tangent, you're going to have a 0 for the cotangent. Where you have a 0 for the tangent, you're going to have an undefined for the cotangent. And that's how we work with the quadrant angles. So I want you guys to go do your worksheets. And you have 42 to 70 even. The answers are on the last page of that, so you can look them up. So I might look at 41 and 42 from your worksheets. I know you don't have to do 41, but 41 says find cosecant of theta, given you have a point negative 18, 18. Negative 18 and 18. And if you need cosecant. Cosecant. Cosecant is r over y. You can check your trig fact sheet, has that on there. Cosecant is r over y. So we need r. So to find r, you're going to do square root of negative 18 squared plus 18 squared. And you're going to find out that that's going to equal r is going to be 18 root 2. So cosecant is r over y. You have 18 root 2 over 18. Your 18s cancel out, and you're left with square root 2. Let's go look at the next one, 42, which is a tangent problem. Tangent and cotangents, you're very, very lucky because you don't have to go find r for those problems. Makes it a lot easier if you don't have to go find r. I'm trying to do some erasing here, but it doesn't seem to want to cooperate. So let's go look at 42. For 42, they want tangent of theta. if you're given the point 14, 17. Well, keeping in mind, the tangent is simply y over x. So that tangent theta is going to be 17 over 14. You're done. Doesn't reduce, so you're finished. 17 over 14. Just leave them like that. And that's how you're going to go through and do your rest of your problems. Even when you get to the back, where they give you one that kind of looks like give you it on a graph. They give you point -9 square root 19. That's just your xy point. So use that xy point to go find cosine. You need to get cosine in this one. You're going to need to get your hypotenuse. And just do x over r. So I think you guys can handle these. Take a picture of those when you get them done. Just even problems. It'll be all good. This is your last lesson for this week. So have a good week. We'll come back next week and finish up 5.3 when we talk about reference angles.